Good morning. It's Lynette from Panacea Ranch. How you doing today? Yeah? All right then. I'm doing fabulous. I hope everybody liked my last video about the soul pictures. If not, go check it out and let me know if you think you did a pretty good job doing your reading. Anyway, I was watching one of my tarot readers this morning, and she gave me this idea of something to talk about. I've thought about it plenty of times, and I've told, people that I work with, or just people that I talk to, sometimes when I hear something that reminds me about it. But do you remember that song in the 80s from Loverboy? Everybody's working for the weekend. Yeah. So, it made me think, even back then, we're working, and we're just waiting and trying to accelerate that time and get by until the weekend, when we can have a good time and our time is ours, and we can do whatever we want with it. Right? Yeah. Are you feeling that way too? Like you don't like your job and you just plug away until your day off. You just hoping, and I do that often with my life. I was always, for years, well, I'm gonna write that book, or I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, when everything in my life aligns so that I can do that. And 20 years went by, maybe more. And I never did that because nothing ever really aligned, or when it did, I was too lazy, or I was off on this or something, distracted, whatever. But, we make a lot of excuses of why we can't do what we want to do in our life yet, until we're waiting for everything to align perfectly in order for us to do that. And, I think it's an excuse to not do what you really need to do, what you really want to do. And I think we should maybe sit down and evaluate the situation and figure out, is it really just fear holding you back? Fear of success, fear of what people might think, fear of failure, fear. It's just false evidence appearing real. We talked about that before. But, yeah, so maybe we need to make small lists of small goals towards creating what it is we want, so we can get there, instead of just sitting and waiting and thinking about it and humming and all that, I know I make up excuses all the time of why I shouldn't do things, or why I can't do it now, why I have to wait. And I'm not getting any younger, we just need to just do it. Like Nike says, just do it. So anyway, yeah, don't wish your life away. And if you're in a place, you're at work, you're driving, you're in the shower, I always get these great ideas or thoughts when I can't write them down, but make lists in your head. And if you're putting it off, procrastinating, I'm a huge procrastinator, and I always have been. And I wish I was more a take action girl, but it is what it is. And I'm trying, now, since I thought about a YouTube channel for a few years before I actually did it. And it's well, I gotta wait till I have a camera. Well, I gotta wait until I have software on my computer so I can make it all fancy like these other YouTube artists, that have worked really hard to make their channels successful and popular. And like I said, I wanted my life to change, and I knew it wasn't going to change if I kept doing the same things over and over again every day, waiting for opportunities, waiting for things to align, waiting. I'm tired of waiting, you know. That's funny because, like, as an Aries, I don't like to wait. I put my horns down and I run. And and a lot of times I should have not ran. You know, I regret that. Even though I don't like to say I regret anything in my life, because everything happens for a reason, and it is what it is, and it got me where I am now, and I love who I am now. But there are some things that I wish I still had, and that's okay. You know, I will move on, and better things will come into my life. And so when at the change of the year into 2025, you know, I joined the gym in January because I wanted my life to change. I wanted to feel better. You know, I had already been doing my morning health shot. I've been doing my juicing, and I've been meditating since, on a daily basis since, I think it was 2013, when I got my transcendental TM training, transcendental meditation, when I got my mantra and I was taught how to do it properly, you know. And sometimes, you know, I want to say I've done it almost every day, at least once a day. You're supposed to do it twice a day, and I've been more successful at doing it pretty much every day since 2013, at least in the morning. So anyway, you know, and so my life hasn't gotten dramatically better since I've been going to the gym, and since I decided to just throw caution to the wind and just do my videos and get my channel anchored in there so that I can make better videos and help people maybe, you know, have a little bit of their own life success just by encouraging you. You can do this. All you have to do is believe in yourself, put in effort, and pay attention. Okay? So, yeah, what are you going to do? You know, there's also, I've been wanting to write a book for a very long time, and there's just so much about it that I'm so unsure of that I just procrastinated. And I think I've started like trying to write it a few times, and it's kind of like stories from my life mixed in with some fiction and fantasy about what I want to be true, and kind of mystical flavor to it, you know. But then I asked AI if it was legal to use AI to help me write my book, and they said, no, it's not illegal. You just have to make sure you're not plagiarizing and this, that, and the other. And I will give AI the credit for what they do, but it's my story. And I think it's a very creative story. I think it's a really good story. I just don't know how to put it into the right words to make it interesting to read, you know, with good details instead of boring details, you know. And so, yeah, so I'm going to try doing that too, you know. Scary. And like I said, I'm a procrastinator, and I quit doing that 369 affirmation thing when I went on vacation. I need to start it back up again and really be on purpose about it, you know. How am I going to succeed if I don't do things that help facilitate that success? So anyway, I've probably blathered on enough, rambled on enough, and maybe you're already gone. Maybe you're still here and you're like, yeah, maybe I do need to quit procrastinating, quit having doubts about myself, and just dive into it. What do you got to lose? You know? So when you're doubting yourself and everything, if you, like I was saying, if you're in the shower, you're at work, you're driving or something, and you have these ideas or these doubts, you know, make a list in your head. Well, I'm good at this, and when this happened in my life, I felt really good, and when I did this, it really helped a lot, and when I did this, it kind of like threw a wrench in the machine. And so do your figuring out, but when you can, have a journal and write down what's in your way, what can you do to change it, and what are the goals that I can make and achieve, because you don't want to make goals that you don't believe you can achieve. You know, maybe there's big goals, but all these little goals you can achieve to get there. Okay? All right. I love you guys. I got to go to work, and I hope you really enjoy some of these videos and that it helps you to change your life for the better. Let's live. Let's thrive, not just survive. Surviving is like, I don't know. It's not as satisfying, you know? All right. Let's thrive. Okay? Bye, you guys.